without further ado, let me just pop open my ballot here one more time. On the beginning side, start voting here. Begin voting here, and then there's a bunch of initiatives, which I got to read a little bit more about those later. President and Vice President of the United States. Is that Oh Fortuna? Kamala D. Harris. What's Kamala's middle name?
Dick, I don't know.
Kamala Dick Harris and Tim Walz, the Democratic Party nominees.
Before we get to the video, please like, comment, subscribe, share it to that uncle who's a communist. And if he isn't, he will be.
Don't forget to follow us on Patreon at patreon.com/revolutionaryrhetoric. And Revolutionary Rhetoric is an affiliate of the Anti-Capitalist Podcast Network.
All right, let's get to the video. Episode number
50. This is a big 5-0.
Big 5-0,
Right,
except
yeah.
this is one of the least, I guess, the most anticlimactic.
Yeah, we had all these lofty goals to prepare. We're going to do so much fun stuff for episode 50.
Dude.
You know what we should have done was just not record it until the election and just artificially make the election coverage 50. But that would be 3 weeks. That's like a month off. So we're not going to actually do that. Hey, it's episode 50. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Episode 50, Revolutionary Rhetoric Podcast. Sorry for the break. Hey.
Woo!
We took a week off. Yeah, we took a week. We didn't. What did we not do? Oh, I had a class. I had I had a new class start for my grad program that had a surprise, mandatory meeting, all hands meeting or whatever for the class to kind of go over the course work and what we're going to be doing in our groups, because it's like a leadership. It's like how to be a principal is the grad program class. My master's is for special education, but that particular class was it's leadership and education, so it's mostly principals, people trying to be principals in that class. Yeah. There's a handful of people that are like me, that it's one random required course in a different degree program, which is what I'm on my special ed program. But it's a lot of intense work, so it popped up. Regardless, it popped up all of a sudden out of nowhere. I mean, it was probably there on my syllabus, but I didn't know. I didn't see it. So anyway, we had to cancel yesterday's episode, which is why we're recording on a Friday today, but I don't remember why we had to cancel last week's episode.
Last week's episode, my car decided to have its tire blown out.
That's true.
For the second time, the same motherfucking tire.
Oh.
I can't take this shit no more, man.
Oh, no.
I am tired of these tires. So the night before, my tire decided to hit a nail, and I didn't notice. And then the next morning, I woke up, and the tire was completely flat, didn't go to work. By the time I got a new tire, it was 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I'm just yeah, dude, it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
But besides that, we've been real busy. I mean, I haven't even.
That was the day of the Carina rally, the Claudia rally. Well, only
correct.
one of them's there. I think only Claudia was there. A couple people we know went. The old leader of. Yeah, well, I wasn't gonna say his name, but there you go. Okay, yeah, the old leader of the Communist Party here went. And he got some pictures with her and all that. It was pretty cool.
We're recording video.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a little red dot there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had some plans for that. It, unfortunately, was just his tire thing. It just didn't work out, and it was one of those things where it was that was all we had planned, so we couldn't really do we had nothing prepared to do remote, because it was we put all of our eggs in the field interview basket.
We were really hoping to go there. We contacted them through multiple avenues.
And they actually finally got back to me near the end. We'll find out for you and get back to you, and then they never got back to me. I messaged so many people. Listen,
if they messaged back and were like, "Hey, we will get you exclusive VIP passes for media," I would have found a way there.
Yeah,
somehow I would have.
Yeah, but they didn't. So
I would have found a way.
What kind of talking about is we were worried because we wanted to bring our recording equipment to this political rally and the same kind of recording rig that we took to the Boeing strike, but I was concerned that they wouldn't let us in with camera equipment and audio recording equipment, which is probably not, because it's a political rally and you just can't bring all that shit. You can't bring a camera to a baseball game. I would be shocked if you could bring it to a political rally. So I emailed the event organizers, I emailed the venue, I emailed the everyone. I messaged on Instagram, dude. I did everything I could to try to get in contact with anybody to try to get press passes or whatever. And literally one person got back to me. It was the venue hall, and they said that they would reach out to the event manager or the people, the booking of the venue, and they never did. So I was well, fuck it.
They never got back to us. So we're just so at that point we would have went to the rally, watched the rally, and 10 minutes before or
Yeah.
20 minutes before it ended, we would have had
Ran
to
to
come
our
out,
car.
set up the whole camera, and interviewed people that were
Just
coming
on their
out.
way out, it just wouldn't
It's-
really
it's
have
kind
worked.
of-
So I mean, and that's
Yeah.
probably partially on us for not like thinking about the press angle and like planning that month in advance, or rather than like. But I started emailing like 3 weeks in advance or 2 weeks in advance.
You did 2-3.
It should have been enough time, but it wasn't. Either way, regardless, the flat tire plus the ambiguity of whether or not we could even do what we wanted to do, we decided to scrap it, and then just take a week off, and that's fine with me because my grad program is kicking my ass.
Dude, yeah.
But anyway,
on
we're
top
back
of
here.
that, I'm also engaged now. I mean,
Kanan got engaged.
got a promotion at work. It's been a crazy couple of weeks.
Everything's
so,
coming up. Kanan, man, engaged and promotion.
dude, I'm a lot less stressed. Let me tell you, I am a lot less stressed. But regardless, you're not here to talk hear about my promotion or my engagement. You're here to hear about.
We're not here to talk about those things.
We're here talking about communism. God damn it, brother!
Communism, God damn it.
Some goddamn communism.
Well, do you want to start with What do you want to start with? You want to start with the hurricane updates because we had promised like 3 weeks ago to talk about the domestic hurricanes, and I feel like now they're in our rearview mirror. I mean, obviously that's a little insensitive to the people in the southeast and Florida and Georgia, and mostly Florida and Georgia, who are still
Florida, bro.
dealing with the aftermath of Milton
Sorry,
and Helene.
but fuck Florida.
Fuck Florida, but not
you
but
moved to Florida. You expected the goddamn hurricanes.
yeah,
man.
I was doing some like hurricane research today. I was looking at the list of like all of the hurricanes that have hit, and this is actually so Helene was like the worst hurricane like since Katrina,
Yeah.
and Andrew and Sandy. It's one of like a handful of hurricanes to do over $50 billion of damage. In fact, both Milton and Helene both did over $50 billion each. Like, and that was like back to back, almost like two.
Is this
only,
with
like,
inflation added?
no, I mean this is just yeah. So like they account for inflation in this like tracker,
Got
right?
it.
So like it's and they hit back to back essentially the same locations. Milton ended up being a lot less severe than
Yeah,
people
I was
had
expecting
planned.
like this catastrophic, like dire, like emergency. Everybody hands on deck.
Mhm.
And when we wake up the next morning, nobody's talking about Milton after it hit. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
what's
only
going
like
on?
I think only a handful of people, like a dozen or so people died, which is really sad. But it's compared to Helene,
Any death,
like
yeah,
3
sad.
weeks before that, or not even like 2 weeks before that, Helene killed over 250 people and left like massive amounts of town, like most of like Washington, or excuse me, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, and I think West Virginia were
How the
like
fuck is Tennessee, bro?
what I think Western Tennessee, where it like kind of connects. Like if you look at a map of the southeast, like there was so much rainfall that it triggered flooding in all of those states. That was like pretty,
Yeah.
like they like covered roads, power outages, and like millions and millions of
Yeah, no,
power outages.
I get that.
yeah.
I just see like the irony of like a hurricane hitting Tennessee.
No,
but-
I mean
Yeah.
or Helene hit fucking hard, dude. It,
Yeah.
Like it went for a while. It took a couple days to dissipate after breaking landfall. It went for I think I have the dates here. Let me check. Let me get my old eyes to zoom in here. Yeah, it went for 7 days. Oh no, that's Milton. Sorry. Helene went for. Well, I guess Helene only went for 5 days. It formed in the Atlantic on September 24th and then dissipated over land on September 29th. So it went for 5 straight days. Whereas Milton, ironically, went further. And I think the reason Milton was more feared, was feared to have done more, like it was going to be worse than it actually ended up being, is because Milton was. I think it's either it's the first or the second strongest hurricane ever over the Atlantic, so over water. It was like building and being huge.
Yeah.
But I think by the time it hit land, I think it hit the Big Bend area of Florida, it was downgraded from what it was. Whereas Helene
Yeah.
stayed strong.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it ended up curving around through the Gulf of Mexico, and I just think it
It lost a little momentum.
it
yeah.
wandered too long,
Yeah.
So by the time it actually reached land, it kind of withered away a little bit. Thank God,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
withered away, because if
If they had hit
thing in
back to
full
back,
force,
yeah, if they had hit back to back, like if Milton had hit with the strength of Helene, like literally, what is that, the 29th to the 5th, 1 week later, it was 1 week apart from these two things. Like that would have like seriously like done some damage to these homes. And like you got to remember, it's like once again, as with most things with like these ever increasing kind of climate disasters, it's typically the poor and the working class folks that are like actually suffering through these and actually hit by these, right?
correct.
It's
correct.
like it's lower income neighborhoods that are destroyed. Not like a hurricane targets those, but those are the ones that are either like the construction is shoddier or that they don't have the money to rebuild, and they're the ones that are like now homeless for it. Middle class and like upper class people, they can rent and then find a way to like rebuild their home, but trailer parks aren't rebuilt after hurricanes plow through.
Yeah, so either a lot of them end up moving,
Yeah.
Or I mean, I don't even know what to tell you because like a lot, even FEMA itself,
Yeah.
really doesn't do as much.
No,
as
and a
people
lot of those
think.
programs were gutted for this. Like Florida, specifically DeSantis, had like some like emergency relief out where everyone was entitled to get 10 gallons of gas. Like,
My God, is
yeah.
like, come get your scraps,
Basically,
young
everyone was
people.
getting, so people were lining up to get like a free 10 gallons of gas, which was then powering like generators and stuff because of power outages. And
Yeah,
so like that was kind of like, it was basically just like they were just trying to give out as what they could when they could. It wasn't really like,
yeah,
well, obviously it wasn't enough. There's
dude.
billions in damage. So yeah.
Speaking of FEMA, did you hear about like the Trump supporters basically raiding and like hunting down FEMA workers?
No.
Yeah, there's like a little thing going on, like because Trump was talking shit about Harris and Biden's like weak FEMA implications, and he was basically during his rallies calling out Harris and Biden for using all of their money on FEMA and not having enough money for like housing.
Yeah,
and other stuff.
didn't Trump like gut the FEMA funding?
Yeah, exactly. So it's ironic, but because he was talking so much shit about FEMA, they're literal like
Yeah.
Trumpies like
His little
going out and like
ghouls, yeah.
basically hunting down FEMA workers.
Yeah, I mean it's the same shit when he said Haitians are eating dogs. Haitians got bomb threats in Springfield.
Yeah.
Now he says FEMA is like evil. So now
These
people are
guys are
going
like
out
trying to like pull people out of like
yeah.
abandoned silos that are like collapsing, houses that are faltering, trying to get dogs, trying to help people through a ecological crisis, and then these guys are like, there they are, the people that are trying to help, get them.
Yeah, it's insane. I mean that's just like the power of the hardcore Trump like sycophants. Those guys are nutty. I love. I mean I don't really. There's all these YouTube like people like I think it's the Young Turks and like a couple other folks like I know Dave and Pacman. So it's like they're like a bunch of liberal like YouTube kind of accounts.
Sockdems,
Yeah, SocGem and like liberal accounts, but they have the money on like the infrastructure to go to the Trump rallies, and it's like the Jordan Klepper from the Comedy Central guy.
Correct.
Kind of
yeah.
the same thing where he's interviewing Trump supporters and just like basically trolling them, but they're too dumb to know they're being trolled, and it's just
Yeah.
always so funny to listen to. So it's like I get those pop up on my YouTube feed a lot of like just people just like making fun of like the hardest core, like
Yeah.
the
Because
diehard.
as much as we don't agree with Sockdems, it's
Yeah,
great to watch these
roasting a
Trumpies.
Trump supporter is roasting a Trump supporter, kind of
Yeah.
wherever you are on the political spectrum.
Exactly.
So like it's always a good fun. It's
We
always a
don't
good time.
get along, but get a load of this
Yeah,
idiot. You know?
and I just love those videos so much because it's like those guys are just truly clueless and like they're just so far
Yeah,
gone.
I watched the video.
Yeah.
It's the same people that are out there Sasquatch hunting. And
Yeah.
do you ever watch Channel 5?
The Seattle news?
No. Channel 5 with Callahan.
No.
Oh my God. So he's got a YouTube channel called Channel 5.
Oh, I see. I was like,
Yeah,
okay.
and
I think the Seattle local news is Channel 5.
Yeah, okay. No, this guy's a YouTube channel called Channel 5. And he goes to like random places, Mexico, blah, blah, blah. And he does like journalism from an independent standpoint. But he went to like places all over in Western Washington to interview people about Sasquatch season. And there's like a whole like rally in this small town, and I think it was like Oregon, about Sasquatch catching and watching.
See,
And he would interview these people, and they're all Trump supporters, right?
okay.
But they're all like, yeah, I've talked to Sasquatch myself. I met his whole family.
See,
And I'm sitting there like, what?
I don't know. So like until you said they were all Trump supporters, I'm like that stuff. That's just good, clean fun, right? If you get a bunch of people that like go out to like a Sasquatch rally, it's like people who live in Nevada go to like the big like Roswell like parties and stuff, and it's like
Yeah, but that's for shits and giggles.
It's just
These
being part of the culture.
These guys are like literal.
But that's different. Yeah, what you're describing is different from what I'm thinking of. Yeah, like there's nothing wrong with going out like a big like having a big party in the desert for like whatever kind of hobby you have. But what you're describing is definitely
these
something
people
else.
really think Sasquatch is real. They have like professional Sasquatch calls. I was like, what does that even make sense?
How do you know what Sasquatch sounds like?
Exactly. It's like if we don't know what Sasquatch sounds like. How do you know what he sounds like?
That was pretty fun.
Oh my God. Anyways, I don't know how we got to Hurricane Milton to Sasquatch, but
that's all right. Well, let's back it up because let's talk about. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. I think it's just Yahya Sinwar. Is his
Yahya,
name?
yeah.
Yahya Sinwar. well, this is kind of an update to just like some Gaza or Palestine Israel news before I think we're probably going to spend the bulk of this episode talking about election stuff and dealing with election stuff.
We're very close to
So
election.
let's do So we're gonna back it up and talk about Sinwar being killed. Yeah, he was killed.
Very recently, actually.
Yeah, just 3 days ago. Let me see. I actually should have. Yeah, 16th of October. So 2 days ago. We're recording this on Friday the 18th. He was killed on the 16th of October. If you don't know, Yahya Sinwar is he's the new head of Hamas. Essentially, he took over for like the Hamas's government in 2017, and like the total leader of Hamas in August. After Hania was his name. Hania. He was the guy that was assassinated in Iran when he went to go to the inauguration of the new prince.
Yeah, that was the diplomatic head. The diplomatic
like
head
the political
of Hamas
head. Yeah,
that was trying to negotiate for a ceasefire.
Yeah, so this guy was kind of like the military leader of Hamas, Yahya Sinwar was, but he also took over the political side of things when Hania was killed in July.
Who else is supposed to do it,
Yeah, so he took over. So he had both roles, and then he was actually just killed in Rafah. Yeah, right. Because he was born in Khan Yunis. So he was born in
he was born in a refugee camp.
Yeah, he was. He was born in like basically a refugee camp as like a Palestinian refugee in Khan Yunis, which is where like a lot of the current genocide is still taking place. He was born in 1962, so he grew up in the system. He was in prison for like 21 years, I think, or 23 years. I forget exactly. He was in prison for a really long time for killing a handful of Palestinians that were accused of collaborating with IDF, and he also killed 2 IDF soldiers. So he basically like killed collaborators, and then got sentenced to prison, 4 life sentences for it. But he got out as a part of a prisoner exchange in 2011. Netanyahu actually was orchestrated a prisoner exchange for an IDF soldier. Well, he was one of the prisoners that was released in that prisoner exchange in 2011. So he didn't finish obviously serving out his multiple consecutive life sentences, and from getting out, he kind of rose through the ranks of Hamas. Became like a pretty powerful leader, and then it was now the actual leader of Hamas, and kind of leading the essentially the Hamas war, the militants of the and the Al-Qassam brigades against this current IDF conflict. Even in prison, apparently, he was still like orchestrating and executing like assassinations and executions of like Palestinian collaborators. Even from prison, he had like, I guess,
my dude said, "I hate snitches."
Yeah, snitches. Yeah, snitches.
Dude.
Basically, yeah.
I hate fucking traitors. Traitors are going to be shot on the spot. Like, Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, the guy is a bit fucking extreme for me, even.
He's a pretty extreme guy.
Yeah.
Did you see the video of his final
Yeah, I did. So I don't know if you guys saw the video, but the video that came out was yesterday.
Yeah.
Was a drone basically flying up into a building and basically finding him with like blood all over his
Yeah, I think at that point he had lost like one of his arms had been cut off or amputated or crushed or something. Yeah. And so he was one arm.
He was hit by a sniper.
Yeah.
He was hit by a sniper. Basically, this drone found him there, just dead.
Yeah. Well, he was alive because he threw a stick at the drone.
Well, sorry, you're right. The drone did not find him dead. He threw a stick at the drone, but later on, when they went to go see if he was there,
they
didn't know who this was. Yeah. He was dead.
Yeah, he had a bullet, gunshot wound to the head, so it's presumed that like he I mean, obviously he took a bullet to the head. And yeah, they figured they knew who he was, but they I guess they cut off his finger and like they matched. So there's a photo of him
DNA
dead.
Analysis also through
through dental records. Yeah, so there's a photo of him dead with a gold watch on, and he has all of his fingers on his arm. And then the next photo, the watch is gone and one of his fingers is gone. So one of the IDF soldiers stole his watch and then cut off his finger to like get a DNA test on it. But yeah, I mean, this is kind of like the aftermath of this is the reason we talk about this one guy being killed is because of what happens next. Well, because this is kind of the military and political leader of Hamas. Well, Hamas issued a statement that says this really doesn't change anything. They're still not going to surrender or give up arms until there's a free and like
just put another guy in charge.
Yeah, put another guy in charge. Until there's a free and liberated Palestine, they're not going to give up anything. And Netanyahu kind of also agreed with that, saying this changes nothing. We're still going to continue killing Palestinians. Like even though they said this was the reason they went in was to stop Hamas.
Well, a lot of people, President Biden congratulated him. Vice President Kamala Harris congratulated him.
Netanyahu?
Yeah, Netanyahu over this kill, right? And they thought, if we just cut the head off the snake dies. I'm like, you are thinking
Yeah.
from a point of a colonizer. You are thinking from a point of the aggressor. You have never been at that physical point of being the defender and the group of people that are trying to survive. Cutting one person's head off is not going to make 70,000 soldiers bow down.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. They will fight to their death. Maybe if you do that to the oppressor, if we killed Netanyahu, that might have been a whole
That
difference.
would probably be enough to have them back off.
That might be a whole different scenario. And so that's they're thinking with their Western liberal, so-called liberal democracy mindset, where it's like, oh, there it is. He's like, nah, they're not done, bro. They're just gonna be replaced.
Yep. And then and that's exactly what they've said, but also Netanyahu said the same thing. He says we're going to keep going until all hostages are released. This just changes nothing. It's kind of sad. It's also, but there's also been a lot of like outpouring of support from like Hamas saying like this is actually like not demoralizing. It's kind of like invigorating, and it's just like it's kind of emboldened them and raised morale that like this guy martyred himself. It also wasn't intentional. I guess they weren't there to kill him. It was just a happy accident. They found him there. I guess he was kind of cut off, and some tanks rolled in at the wrong time from the building he was staying in Rafah, and it was just like the way it worked out. Like it was an unintentional thing that Israel just happened to stumble upon him. It wasn't like a targeted. They knew he was there, and it was like a coordinated attack or anything.
Gaza's only so big.
Yeah,
you can only get cut off by so many buildings, so many streets.
Yeah. Anyway, I mean we just definitely wanted to mention that. I don't know if you have anything else to kind of comment on that, but before we get to the bulk of what we're going to talk about, which is kind of election updates and a little surprise from me at the end.
I do want to state that watch out for the next few weeks, because Israel will be taking advantage of basically. Here's a Lord of the Rings reference. Towards the end of Return of the King, because Frodo was trying to get to Mount Doom, he's already in Mordor. Sauron's eye is fixed upon them, right? And basically, Aragorn and the rest of the men of the West head over to the Black Gates to make his eye come onto them so they can have free passage. As the elections come up, think of it in that circumstance. Think of it as all news, as all American and Western news and attention goes towards the election of Trump versus Harris, this huge battle that's going on with within the American so-called democracy. Israel will take that. They will take that advantage, and they will lead large incursions into either the West Bank, into Lebanon, into Syria, or completely demolish Gaza.
Yeah.
And so watch out for that. Quote me now, hear me now, quote me later. That's all I'm saying.
Sure.
That's all I have to say about that.
Okay. Well, just one final note for me too is I read Biden's address, his press release about this, and it was just full of like just the most like heinous lies and stuff about the October 7th, like all the rapes and the beheadings and the kidnappings from done by Hamas, and it's like all of those have been debunked, but Biden is still like pushing this false narrative of like the rapes and stuff, where it's like the only people committing the rape are the IDF, the only people doing the beheading is IDF, like the actual terrorist in all of this is Israel, but like Biden, like yesterday, is still pushing that false narrative.
Yeah, and then turn around and be like, well, after this horrific act of terrorism, we have finally taken out this main target, and there's congratulating Netanyahu, and I'm just like, holy fuck, do you have no fucking political sense?
Yeah.
Just shut the fuck up. Do you want to win this election or what? Why would you reiterate these things right now, right before an election? This does not look good to you.
I think they're hoping that this will be a little boost, because it's like the boost, like everyone fucking loved Obama when he killed Osama bin Laden, right? So I think maybe they're trying to think this is a similar thing, right? You kill Sinwar, and maybe like the Dems get a boost for like we're the guy who got him, like the whole Dems did it push.
This is a whole different scenario.
But that's the point, is like they're misreading the optics of this.
They're always misreading the optics.
The people who like aren't voting for Harris because of the genocide aren't going to turn around and vote for Harris because they executed a guy, right?
But that's the thing. A lot of people are biting their tongue and voting for the Democratic Party come November because they rather not get Trump. Yeah. And a lot of these people are biting their tongue because they know what the Democratic Party has done is basically instigated more weapons into a genocide. They are, applauding a genocide, and they're biting their tongue. They're like, "Fuck it, it's better than goddamn Trump."
Yeah.
And now you're just like reiterating what they don't want to hear, and maybe 5% of them were like, fuck this, can't do it.
Yeah.
Can't. You might have lost like 50,000 voters. 50,000 voters. Hey man, 10,000 might have been from fucking Pennsylvania. That could have lost you the state. That could have lost you the fucking election. You never. Shut the fuck up. If you want to win, I don't even want you. I don't give a fuck about the Democratic Party. But if you want to win, as from a political standpoint, shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy too, because like that's speaking of, it's like their transparent ploy. They just announced that they're going to start doing an arms embargo on Israel if Israel doesn't commit to a ceasefire or enact a ceasefire in 30 days. And everyone's like saw right through this, was like, well, this is just trying to curry political points to the left or to the people who are like pro-Palestine, or at least like on the fence about the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's like the people that would vote
within 30
possibly
days would
be after the election. And everyone's like, well, that's a very obvious thing. Is like, this is just
smells fishy
it's
to me.
just it's just smoke and mirrors. You can say, oh, we're going to do an arms embargo to Israel in 30 days. It's like, well, yeah, but the election's in 15 days. So like, you're just trying to like trick people into thinking that you care about Israel or care about Palestine. So
It's
I don't know.
sad. It's sad because like
They think the American electorate is dumb, and I guess most liberals are dumb. So like,
to a certain point, but like the people that you are trying to win over, the people that are very heavy pro-Palestine heavy, and that are biting their tongue again to vote for these,
they're gonna see right through that,
and then that's gonna make them vote less for you.
Yeah, it just go back to your point of like it would have been better off if they just hadn't done anything.
Yeah.
Just if they would have just kept their mouth shut. Yeah.
Just shut your damn mouth.
Just politically, it doesn't make any sense. You people are making billions of dollars through campaign donations through these large corporations, and you still can't pay somebody to have some political competence to guide you along a fucking campaign that a fucking high schooler could guide you along.
It's nutty.
Holy shit, man. Speaking of campaigns and donations,
oh my god,
we now know that Musk has donated over $75 million
to Donald Trump.
Oh,
yeah, I looked it up. It's not called the Awesome Pack. I wish it was. It's called the America Pack. It's less cool.
So Musk donated to Trump $75 million in what's called the America Pack.
Mm-hmm.
And the only person donating in that pack is Elon Musk.
Yeah. That may have changed according to like this. This is an NPR article from October 16th. So as of 2016, let me quote this article real quick. Musk, estimated to be the world's richest person, was the sole donor to the political action committee he created, America PAC, a group that spent about $72 million to support Donald Trump's re-election bid between July and September, according to a new quarterly filing with the Federal Election Commission. So that brings his total, because he donated a little bit before the PAC. So Musk's $75 million in giving was among several big fundraising hauls disclosed Tuesday in filings with the FEC. So now he has reached like the level of like Republican mega donors, like this is like Koch brother level of like Musk is now a massive player
100%.
in like Republican donations, all through just basically one donation, one PAC to one candidate. Whereas like the Koch brothers and Peter Thiel, they're kingmakers everywhere.
Here's the thing. This just really points out to the American public how much none of these laws really fucking matter.
Yeah, dude, it's
this
insane.
guy's like, all right, I won't directly donate $75 million, but here I will make a pact which I'm the sole contributor to, and then I will take the money and I will put it in the pact which will contribute to Trump, and it's legal. It is legal. So that means you just have to change the name of whoever is giving it to the person. I'm just like, it's not Musk giving it. It's America PAC. It's the America PAC. And he happens just to be the only one donating to the America PAC.
Yeah, it's the what is the for an individual donation is the max you can donate is
like
$33,000 or $3,300 $3,300.
I was about to say $3,000.
So $3,000 is the most a person can donate to a
$33,000, whatever.
Well, no, I think that's too much, but
it is. But we're just like a local donate $75
million. You just create like basically you create a trust like a company and then funnel the money through, because then like I don't know, it's just that dude, overturn Citizens United is all I gotta say. Like what the fuck?
Holy shit! But he's just saying fuck you to the law, and I'm like, if we're gonna have these laws where we like you can't donate individually but you can donate as a PAC, we gotta make rules of how many people have to donate to it.
Yeah, it needs to be a minimum. Like that's the thing too. Like that's a fair point of like you can't just like create a trust or create a PAC, like create this company or this entity. I don't know if it's technically considered a company, but this this entity,
Yeah.
and then you just funnel literally like dozens or hundreds of millions of dollars into it. Like there needs to be
Openly.
some kind of like
Openly.
criteria for like minimum number of people
10 people,
donating,
20 people.
whatever. So I don't know. Well, let's talk about some election stuff. You ready to look at a map? So here is the projected 2024 electoral map. This is basically pretty much set. There are 7 states that are the swing states, which are like the brown swing states, and every other state is pretty much, it is what it is. Harris leads in the polls about 2% nationally, but
Which means nothing because
of the electoral college. And I had to explain this to my 9th grade students. 9th graders are just now reaching a point where they're becoming kind of like politically, they're politically aware ahead of 9th grade, but like they're starting to actually care about like learning about the electoral college. Because I said something about how like your vote in Washington doesn't actually matter because Washington's a solid blue state. So like the 12 points go to Harris either way. And they're like, wait, what? And I was like, well, yeah, each state is, and I explained the electoral college, and I explained it as a points. I was like, each state is worth a certain amount of points. The first team to get 270 points wins. And so it doesn't actually matter how many people vote for Harris. And in fact, I showed them the data of like, for the past like 2000, 2004, 2008, 2012, 2016, 2020, the past 6 elections, Republican has only won the popular vote once, but has been president more than once, but as president 1, 2, 3 out of those 6. Half of those elections, Republican president has been, so 50% presidential rate, but only 1 out of 6 popular votes. So like the popular vote largely doesn't matter. In fact, if you go back further, the Republican hasn't won a popular vote 1 out of the last like 12 or 10 elections or something. That's beside the point.
Yeah.
But the point here is that it's about these points. I don't know why I'm explaining to you as if you're a 9th grader. You guys all listening know what the electoral college is. So this is it. Washington is solidly blue. Oregon is solidly blue. California is solidly blue. Whatever. Texas, Louisiana, Wyoming, solidly red. Florida has been a swing state in the past. However, it looks like for this election, it's pretty much not.
I think Florida's not even a swing state no more, man.
Yeah, it's not. I mean,
To
it's
be quite honest with you.
I think like 2000, 2004 it was, but it's just been steadily growing redder and redder. And we can pull up actually. Let me see the 2020 election. What was it?
In fact, we could say that Georgia has become more of a swing state than Florida.
Georgia has become more of a swing state than Florida, actually, and so we're going to talk about that. And so I pulled up the individual polling by state here. So this is based on so Nevada and Michigan is still a straight tie. It's the average of 5 and 9 polls respectively for Nevada and Michigan. Last poll was yesterday, right? So this is pretty up-to-date data. So we leave Nevada and Michigan brown for the time being. We're good there. Harris is up by 0.3% in Pennsylvania. So if we go over here, we can turn Pennsylvania blue. If we're following just the current snapshot of polls, if the election were held today, and these there's assuming no margin of error, assuming these polls are completely accurate.
Correct.
Which of course they're not. So like, please don't think that they are. North Carolina
Goes to Trump.
0.5% to Trump. Wisconsin 0.7% to Trump. So if we assume Wisconsin and North Carolina go to Trump, we'll color those in red. Maine District 2 is leading to Trump, but we're not really going to worry about that because it's like 1 electoral vote. Arizona went Biden in 2020, interestingly enough, but is now pretty solidly polling in Trump's favor.
Well, yeah, when you reach, there's a freaking brown girl running now. There's a woman and she's brown.
Oh, right. For Arizona. I was like, what are you talking about? Georgia, again, went Biden in 2020. I think that was the contest. All the re-elections in Georgia was where all the drama was. But now it's a 2-point lead or almost a 2-point lead for Trump. And then that's it. So those are all of the swing states.
Iowa.
Iowa's not a swing state. Yeah. So now we just have Michigan and Nevada at the top.
Good for the
look at where we're
Biden-Harris.
at. So we're at already the Republicans having won. So it actually doesn't matter where Nevada and Michigan and Nevada land, because I just dropped my pen. 1 second. I need my pen to make my points. Ugh.
That came out of his ass.
It came out of my ass. Yeah. So basically, if the polling as of today stands, it's a Trump win. Even if these go to it's actually, this will be one of the closest electoral races in history. If this holds, it'll be 272 to 266 if all of the polling holds, and both of the Nevada and Michigan ties break for Harris, which I'm not convinced that Nevada will. Nevada's, there's a lot of red people in Nevada, a lot of Republicans in Nevada. So that's why Harris is in Georgia right now. Obama's in Tucson
What's
right
Wisconsin like? I feel like Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
How do you say? Is it Wisconsin or Wisconsin?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Yeah. What about it?
What's the polling like? Because
It's
that
a
is
Trump.
a swing state.
Yeah, it's a Trump lead by 0.7%. Yeah.
0.7%.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's
thing,
like
man.
a rainy day in a red district, and anyone, you know what I mean, swings this to the other
Yeah.
person. This polling is so close that it's like this polling is impossible to really judge. Too, the polling predicted a Hillary Clinton win in 2016. The polling, you know what I mean, like it's always it predicted a Trump win in 2020. Like the polling is always wrong. So like this is all, take all of this with a grain of salt. But as it stands right now, based on current polls, up-to-date polling as of like as recently as yesterday in a lot of these states, Trump is going to win by 272 to 266. That 266 is soft because that's assuming that Nevada and Michigan both go for Harris. Now, like I said, there could be like heavy rains in like the foothills of like a rich suburb in Wisconsin or in Wisconsin that allows it to go to that's literally all it takes is stuff like that.
If Wisconsin flips something like that, Democrats win.
Some of these states like that don't have a lot of people, like Nevada or Wisconsin or Arizona, like relative to like bigger cities, like 0.7% is literally like a neighborhood, right? So like it's a single little like tiny little fraction of people. I mean, it's really, it could be like down to just thousands of votes or a couple hundred of votes. And sometimes, remember the Georgia election came down to like, or what was it? The Florida election in 2000 came down to like double digits or triple digit votes. I mean, like this stuff can be pretty close sometimes.
Yeah.
Just the nature of the country and the nature of the electoral college and the nature of like the red and blue states make every election very, very competitive. And Georgia is being heavily campaigned in right now by Harris. She's there, I think, right now. Obama is in Tucson, Arizona tonight. Biden is going to be in Flagstaff, Arizona, I think tomorrow or later this week or something. Like they're fighting hard for these states because literally all of these states are up for grab. Now, so if, for instance, Georgia were to flip for Biden, that's it. They just need Georgia, just the one.
Kamala.
What did I say, Biden?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. If Georgia were to stay, red and then North Carolina were to flip they just need one, essentially. Oh, actually, let's assume that they don't have Nevada or Wisconsin. Nevada or Michigan. Those are the two that are, oh my God, this is so laggy. Yeah, so like if they need some of the smaller states and North Carolina, or some of the smaller states and Georgia, or both North Carolina and Georgia, and it won't matter, and they can lose Nevada. I mean, there's a lot of different paths to victory, but they need a lot to go right.
Correct.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. We're how many days away from the election are we? Today's the 18th of October. The election is the 5th of November. So we are 14. We're 16 days away from the election.
If I were them, I'd be focused on Wisconsin. To be honest, it's 0.7%. Those 10 points, man, can make a real big difference.
Oh, I would be shocked if Harris isn't going to be there in the next day or two. I mean, this is it. They're just making repeat flyovers to these like 7 states. They're dumping all of their money. This is the home stretch. The last dollars they have are going into these states. That's it. Yeah.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah. And hopefully we'll do some live coverage on Tuesday night, the 5th. Are you able to come over here and do live?
I'm still trying to.
Okay. Well, I can get it started and then just join me when you can.
Yeah.
It'll be going all night.
I do want to talk, since we're talking about elections, that there is a chance. I don't know if you've seen Ted Cruz panicking a little bit.
Huh.
Yeah. The polls are actually somewhat decently close. And Ted Cruz, I've watched videos recently of where he's like, please, $10, $20.
Oh, is he?
$50, please. They're outspending the Republicans in Texas like crazy.
They're trying to unseat Ted Cruz's Senate seat, huh?
Yeah, well, they're trying. I don't know if they'll do it, but they are spending a lot of money. And I don't know what exactly the polling looks like. I've just heard the polling is really close. And I've seen Ted Cruz fucking freaking out.
I'm pulling it up right now. His name is Allred. And we've been focusing pretty heavily on just the presidential race. And to be fair, because we're in Washington, or at least we were actually talking about this before we started recording, because I'm in Seattle, basically like the entire city council, the mayor, they're all Democrats, they're all blue. So like I'm in like one of the bluest parts of the country. I mean, besides like, I don't know, San Francisco or some districts in New York or something. I'm in one of the bluest parts of the country. So like, it's not really, I don't ever really think about the down ballot stuff because it's never really contentious. But as Kanan mentioned, the part that he lives in Washington, because you live outside of Seattle, you live in a more rural area.
Yeah, I love
Your
a little
down
bit
ballot
north
stuff
of,
is pretty competitive sometimes. So I also
Yeah.
I want to kind of
I
make it clear that I haven't forgotten about the down ballot stuff.
Yeah.
Although
So I would just say, if like I am not voting for Kamala Harris, simply just because I cannot vote for a party that has committed genocide. However, if you are in an area that is predominantly Republican or is predominantly like a swing state, I will say vote down ballot, because there are more crucial things that will affect you actually day to day life. And it's probably a bit smarter to have Democrats than Republicans in your in those seats, specifically for people, like judges and such.
Yeah, speaking of, I have my ballot here. I got mailed my ballot today. I was looking over some of the tax initiatives and stuff because you got to be sneaky because some of them are I'm for it. I'm happy to increase taxes. Like I typically vote to increase taxes on anytime it comes up because I think that that's a good thing. Like more taxes means more money for infrastructure and roads and bridges and welfare service, like safety net programs, social safety net programs, things like that. But the one I was reading the fine print on one of them, it's like it increases. It's 65 cents out of every $1,000. So it's 0.065 like percent increase on your taxes. That money exclusively goes to raise salaries for police. So
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
okay, it's like it's they hide it in like it's like a public safety levy or something, but it's like it's more hiring and it's more like funding for police or whatever. So it's like, okay, obviously read your propositions, people, because they're
Yes,
kind of sneaky
100%.
sometimes.
100%.
Yeah, and another one is to
And
reduce
if you don't know how to
funding.
read, find somebody that can read.
Find somebody that can read for you, or better yet, find somebody that can critically think for you.
Yes.
Because that's what we're lacking here. Speaking of, here I have a copy of.
Should I bring the camera to you?
Nah, it's fine. I don't want to. It's set up here. I'm just gonna go over it and then I'll bring it up to the camera because I don't want to like reset it up. Because I actually wanted to I wanted to read one of these initiatives too because I wanted to be specific. I just wanted to quickly point out, kind of like this, just proves my point about what I was saying earlier. Is here's this ballot initiative number 2109, concerns taxes. This measure would repeal an excise tax imposed on the sale or exchange of certain long-term capital assets by individuals who have annual capital gains of over $250,000. This measure would decrease funding for K-12 education, higher education, school construction, early learning, and child care. So essentially this takes a tax that exists currently on people who are like capital gains of people who are making or over $250,000. So like basically like the ultra wealthy have a very small tax that goes to fund school. This initiative would repeal that tax and defund K-12 education, early learning, and childcare. So by allowing rich people to stay a little bit richer. So it's just important to get these out. And while we've mentioned on this program before that voting is largely performative, especially when it comes to like one of the two major parties, if you're voting for Democrat or Republican, down ballot stuff can have a local impact. Again, you're largely still voting for Democrats or Republicans at down ballot stuff, but even further down ballots, read your propositions and read your local initiatives, because that's where you have actual like impact on your local schools, in your literal community, in your school districts, to give them more taxes, in your cities, in your towns. And what, like, it's similar to how we say like mutual aid is a better use of your time than like voting. Well, I don't consider like these types of initiatives and supporting these initiatives not in a very similar way of like you're actually helping the children in your local community by like supporting stuff like this. So we've come down pretty hard on voting in the past for major presidential candidates or for major party candidates. Stuff like this, give that a vote.
Yeah.
You have our blessing to vote for that. And without further ado, let me just pop open my ballot here one more time. On the beginning side, start voting here, begin voting here, and then there's a bunch of initiatives, which I got to read a little bit more about those later. President and Vice President of the United States. Is that oh Fortuna? Kamala D. Harris. What's Kamala's middle name?
Dick, I don't know.
Kamala Dick Harris
Yeah.
and Tim Walz, the Democratic Party nominees. No thanks. Donald J. Trump and J.D. Vance, Republican Party nominees. No thanks.
No.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Nicole Shanahan.
I thought he dropped. Oh yeah, a lot of the.
Yeah,
a lot
but
of
they're still on the
states-
ballot on a lot of the states. The We the People Party nominees. No thanks. And Jill Stein and Rudolph Ware. The Green Party nominees. Not for nothing. No hate to Jill Stein. But she's not for me. Also, skipping one entry here. Let's go down the list a little bit. Rochelle Fruit and Dennis Richter for the Socialist Workers Party nominees. Those are the Trots, I think. Those are the same Trotsky group that runs for everything here. And I don't actually know much about these people. I think they might also be Trots. But Joseph Kisher and Jerry White for the Socialist Equality Party nominees. I don't know who the Socialist Equality Party is.
Never heard of them.
But I'm guessing they're Trots because every Communist Party that runs candidates is typically Trots. Chase Oliver and Mike Termott, the Libertarian Party nominees.
Absolutely no. Thank you.
Absolutely fucking not. Cornel West and Melina Abdullah from the Justice for All Party nominees. Not a bad choice if Cornel West's on your ballot, I have some problems with Cornel West and some of the things he's said in the past. Better than Dems. Jill Stein would still be my choice.
Correct.
And then lastly, second to last, Shiva Ayadurai and Crystal Ellis, the independent candidate. But on a Washington ballot, you have Claudia De La Cruz and Karina Garcia for the Socialism and Liberation Party nominees. So that's who I'm going to fill in. You guys are watching it happen. History being made right here. I am casting my ballot for Claudia De La Cruz and Karina Garcia. This is mostly symbolic because I actually have to go through and fill out the rest of these. There's a lot of judges on here. There's some initiatives I have to read.
Don't you have to use pencil?
No.
Or is it pen?
No, it doesn't say.
I can't remember.
It just says completely fill in the oval. In fact, I think you're supposed to use. Also, look how perfectly I fucking filled in that circle, dude.
Damn, bro.
I gotta show the people here. I'm not sure when
He
address
really
is on here.
filled in that hole.
And also, again, voting for Claudia Karina is kind of a performative thing because Harris is going to carry Washington to the tune of 60% or something. So me showing off my ballot that I voted for is mostly LARPing because and it's also I have the privilege to do that because it's a guaranteed thing for me. So as you mentioned earlier, if you're in a red state or whatever, I don't know. I can't legitimately say you should vote for Harris to sway those numbers because you shouldn't because she's a genocider and I don't support that and I would hope that you don't either. The Dems have just dug themselves in such a hole that there's just no rational.
It's kind of hard.
You can't logically support them for any reason. There's no rational way to argue. There's no argument to support the Democrats anymore. They've completely lost all credibility.
It used to be hey, you should vote for us because what about the gays?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you're like, bro,
yeah.
what about the Palestinians? Who gives a fuck about the Palestinians?
Yeah.
Apparently neither of the parties
None
do.
of the parties. Well, anyway, that's our election coverage. Well, as we get closer, as the polls continue shaking out, we'll keep that. But we have a special surprise here today. Kanan's new fiance, no longer girlfriend, now a fiance.
That's right.
Really did us. Yeah, you locked it in, dude. Really did us a cool solid. Drove pretty far today to pick up something on. Was it Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah, bro. We found some gems.
This is some national treasure shit.
Okay, I haven't seen this shit either.
Yeah, this is a live reveal for all of us. You want to do one at a time, or how do you want to handle this?
I'm gonna take off everything.
Yeah, dude. I'll commentate while you open these. So this is apparently very, very authentic Chinese productions of some posters. Lady Izar would fucking shit to have these. Yeah, we should send. We should take photos on the Instagram and send them to her. Here, do you need a hand? Here. Yeah. So these are 80 plus years old, 70 years old. These are prints from China. There's original Chinese at the bottom. And we think that they're from the 50s. They definitely look like they're from the 50s. It's pretty yellowed paper. These are authentic, what would they be called?
Propaganda.
No, the printing technique. It's an old school printer that would have made these. It does. I was trying to flex my printer knowledge, but it's fine. It doesn't matter. Lithograph? A lithograph? Yeah. That is so cool. So we have these giant posters now of Stalin. Roll that one back up, and then
I went into a bit of debt for this.
I'm gonna drop them. I'm losing my balance here. Oh, okay. So Lenin and Marx. And they're all the same prints. Oh my god, these are so cool. I'm going to measure them and order frames for them this weekend because I don't want anything to happen to these guys. These are so cool. I wonder what the Chinese says. How much is the name?
Probably.
We'll have to look at all of them when we get some time to actually unfold them and like look at them, and see if they're all the same, the characters, or if it's just their names in the Chinese, in Chinese. Anyway, these are super sick. So shout out to Kanan and Kanan's fiance for driving a decent amount to pick these up. We'll figure something to do with them. We're definitely gonna frame them and
Absolutely,
yeah,
bro.
and do
These
something
would
with
be
them.
gold.
Yeah. So these are so cool.
Literally vintage.
Yeah. These are just it's Lenin, Stalin, and Marx. Ironically enough, it's not Mao. This was during Mao's reign,
Yeah.
but we don't have a Mao. So,
I
yeah,
would love a Mao.
during Mao's time as chairman of the CCP, but there's no Mao. It's only Lenin, Marx, and Stalin. Super cool. 61, huh? When was the Sino-Soviet split?
Late 60s? I can't remember.
It was late 50s and early 60s. The debate started to kind of happen, but it was basically 61 is when it started. So these would have been made right at the Sino-Soviet split. All right, well, that's going to close us out. Apologies for the delay in episodes, delay between episodes. While Kanan is kind of cleaning up those posters and getting those wrapped up, I'll tease us out with all of our plugs for socials and everything. As always, Revolutionary Rhetoric is a member of the Anti-Capitalist Podcast Network. There's some really cool stuff happening over there. A new kind of parody news account they just got started over there called the Pine Cone something.
Yeah, the Pine Cone. It's
just called the Pine Cone, yeah.
We'll
pull it up here. The Daily Pine Cone. We'll have links to that at the bottom. Check out the stuff that the Anti-Capitalist Podcast Network is working on.
It's supposed to be basically
stuff.
A socialist onion.
A socialist onion, yeah.
Yeah, it just started out, so we'll see how it goes.
How it goes, yeah.
I like the idea though.
Follow us on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram at Revolutionary Rhetoric, wherever you get your socials. Follow us on wherever you get your podcast app, Revolutionary Rhetoric. Make sure to leave us a review and a rating, whatever review and rating you think we deserve. Tell your friends about it. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends. Click the bell icon so you get notified when we release new videos. Join our Discord, Revolutionary Rhetoric. Links will be in the description as well. And lastly, we do have a Patreon, which we have a couple different tiers available. A lot of the money.
Right now, I'm making pretty much everything free. Just to build up so you guys have something to watch. Right. And eventually, I will add things that will have to be paid for that are more secretive, I guess. I don't know.
And also, there's a donate link in the links below for the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund. Get some food and supplies to the people in Palestine.
Yeah,
I think I got everything.
Also, if you have a podcast or a show yourself and you would like to come on, don't be afraid. Shoot us out an email.
We'll say yes
at gmail.com.
Everybody,
or have us on your show. Yeah. We've been on a show now.
Everybody we've asked to go on their show or to come on our show has said yes. So we will also except one. Well, they just didn't say anything.
Oh no. We've had one that said no.
Decline. Oh, who was that?
That was.
You can bleep it.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, give us a follow on all those things. Follow the people that support us, and then go support them. Donate to the Palestinian Children's Relief Fund. If you are voting for your down ballot and local initiatives, make sure you go vote for that. If Claudia and Karina are on the ballot in your state, awesome. Take it easy. Be kind to one another, and stay safe out there.
Salute. Take it easy.